Hey, good morning, everyone. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I did. Whoops. Popo. Going after somebody. Anyway, I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I did with the family. And, yeah, it was just kind of nice to take a break and, be with everybody. And I hope you got to do the same. So, anyway, what did I want to talk about this morning? I don't know. I was kind of thinking back on cars that I had owned and cars I wish I never got rid of, and stuff like that. And I know I've mentioned some of these things before. One of my favorite cars I wound up with, I was originally supposed to buy a 71 Roadrunner 340 automatic car from the original owner down in Florida. And I saw this car when I was in Florida, and I was just looking at it, and then it was in a grocery store parking lot, and I was looking at it. It was silver with a black interior. The car was clean. And then this woman comes out of the grocery store, and she sees me checking out her car, and she's like, "Oh, can I help you?" I said, "Oh, I was just admiring your car," blah, blah, blah. So we got to talking. And I said, "I've always wanted one of these." I said, "Are you interested in selling it?" And she goes, "I never really thought about selling it." She goes, "But people ask me all the time." She goes, "But you're different." And so we talked about it, and she was willing to sell me the car. And it was a premium price, but it was still a good price. If, like, knowing the market for cars like that, it was still a good price. So I had the money, and I was getting ready to actually go buy the car. And one of my friends who had a towing company at the time, he says, I made mention to him that I was going to go buy this car. He goes, "Don't buy the car." I go, "Why?" He goes, he goes, "At least before you do, come check out this car." He goes, "I know of." So I was like, okay. So he tells me where it's located, and it was located at a body shop. Not because it was in an accident or anything, but because the guy who owned the body shop was good friends with the guy who owned the car. And the guy who owned the car was, he could no longer drive. He was the original owner. It was a 1965 Dodge Dart GT convertible, 273 4-barrel, 4-speed, and the car was immaculate. It was like showroom mint. It was incredible how clean this car was, and it was like he was looking for the right person to buy the car. And when I tell you this car was immaculate, it was immaculate. And it came with a whole bunch of parts. The guy was a fanatic about his car, which it was obvious looking at it because it was so clean. I have pictures of it somewhere. I have to find them. I haven't had time to look for anything in the last couple of years. It was beige with a beige interior, bucket seats. Didn't have console though. It was bucket seats, and it was pretty cool. On the side, where the shifter was, like on the transmission hump, it had a sticker there, and it said this vehicle has been equipped with basically like a limited slip differential. And basically, it was basically telling you to use caution in the rain and stuff like that because the car could fishtail. And I tell you what, the car was such a blast to drive. And it came up on winter. Like I said, I was in New York. And when I owned the car, there was this one guy in particular that kept on hounding me to sell the car. And I didn't want to sell it. I loved the car. But then winter had come up, and I had a place to keep it for the winter because I wasn't going to drive it, obviously. And all of a sudden, I lost my storage for the car. And now it was like late fall, like actually like right about this time of the year up in New York. And it's like, it's going to start snowing. This car's never seen the snow. This car has never rarely seen the rain, I would assume. And it had zero rust. Zero. So it's like I didn't want to take a chance on driving it in any kind of foul weather. So when I lost my storage, I started looking for a place to keep the car. And I couldn't find anything. So finally, I got to that point of, you know what? This guy wants this car so bad, maybe I'll just sell him the car. So I started talking to him about it, and he wanted the car really bad. So I wound up selling him the car, and I wish I never did. I wish I figured something out to keep it, and unfortunately, I didn't. So I got rid of it. It was, I mean, it wasn't a super fast car. It ran great. It ran really good. I don't know why this person's on my bumper. I haven't the slightest idea. It's like I'm going 55 and a 45. Anyway, so I wound up selling the car. I never saw it again. I wish I did. I wish I'd never sold that one. And it's funny, the muffler actually broke on it one time, and I was going to a Dodge Dart event that was being held in Mamaroneck, New York. And it was actually part of what they used to call the Slant 6 Club, because a lot of those cars came with Slant 6s. So the muffler had broken, or actually I should say the tailpipe right out of the muffler. So the car had a little bit of a note to it. I didn't fix the exhaust yet at that point in time. So when I pulled into the meet, where all these other cars were, and they were 98% of them were Slant 6s of the cars that were there. People come up to me and how'd you get your car to make that sound? I said, it's got a V8. And they're like, oh. They were upset that, they thought I had a 6-cylinder with like the V8 sound. So they were actually disappointed the car was a V8, but I mean, the car was really cool. Let's see, what else was there? I don't know if I told you. Well, no, I did tell you about that one. I wound up with a 73 Coronet. It was only a 318 car, but that wound up being my daily driver. And I tell you what, I love the car. I got the car for free, and I love that car. It was absolutely fantastic to drive. It was beat up, but it was super, super reliable. And it was great because in the winter, I just put a set of like the knobbiest snow tires I could find for like a truck. And I had them on there, and it was like it could go anywhere. And I didn't care if somebody hit the darn thing. I didn't care if something happened to it, you know what I mean? Because it was already kind of beat when I got it. But I'll tell you what, it was a great car to have. And that was actually another one where if I could find one of those, I would probably buy one of those. It was something about it. It was just a nice car to drive. I wound up with a 76 Cadillac Coupe Deville with the 472, I think it was. I wound up buying, it was a customer of ours at the first shop I ever worked at, and he blew a head gasket on it. I forgot what led to it, but I think the water pump might have let go, and then he wound up popping a head gasket on it. The car was clean, super clean, front to back. I mean, the interior was nice, everything else. The customer gave it to me because he didn't want to put the money into it. So I basically worked on it. I put a water pump on it. I did head gaskets on it. And I tell you what, those 472 cylinder heads were pretty heavy. But I did the work to it, and I got it up and running. And I had it, and that was another fun car to drive, but I didn't have it too long. If you basically stepped on it, I had it tuned really good. If you stepped on it, that thing would annihilate the right rear tire. It just did hellacious burnouts. And one time I was at a traffic light. Actually, this is one of the 2 times I grenaded an engine racing somebody. But there was I don't remember what it was in the left lane. I was in the right lane. I was at a traffic light. Some guy had some kind of a hot rod. So I pulled the shifter down at the low 1. And when the light turned green, I just nailed it. And of course, this thing's smoking a tire, and the guy realized in the left lane, whatever, like I said, I don't remember what he was driving, but all of a sudden he got on it. He beat me only because it was a Cadillac 472. It's not the fastest car in the world, but man, could it do burnouts. So he beats me. I forgot to shift it at a low 1. So I revved this thing to the sky, not even thinking about it. Like I was just like, oh shoot. And then I shoved it in drive. And as soon as I shoved it in drive, I heard kablang, and then smoke and everything else. And the thing shut off. I mean, it just shut off violently. So at that point, I coasted it off to the side of the road. I got my buddy Ed to help me, and we wound up towing it with a chain back to my house. Get it back over to my house, look to see what happened, and there was a connecting rod sticking through the oil pan. There was a connecting rod sticking through the side of the block, and it was just like, okay, well, this one's done. So yeah, that one, yeah. I wound up selling it though. I actually made money on that car. I wound up selling it because the body and the interior were really clean, and I put an ad in the penny saver for it, saying needed an engine. Sure enough, some guy, he wound up contacting me, and it was a white Coupe Deville with I think it was a red interior. I don't recall. Guy came over and he's like, yeah, man. He goes, this thing's in nice shape. I go, yeah, I know. And except for the bald right rear tire. So I wound up selling it to him. I never saw that car again. Another car that I blew an engine while drag racing, I had a 76 Trans Am. It was a 6.6 liter or 400, whatever they called it at the time. 4-speed car. It was black with a black interior. And I bought this car from the guy who was a counter guy at the parts store. I always liked the car. It was kind of beat looking. It had rotted quarter panels. Man, quarter panels were rotted up to the back window. But the rest of it had no rot. Those things up north were notorious for the quarter panels rotting away. So I wound up buying it from him, and I had this car. And the car ran good. The car ran really good. And I'm sitting at a traffic light again one day, and a guy in a BMW pulls up next to me. I'm pretty confident it was a BMW. It was some kind of a European sports car of the time. So, and he's like looking over at me, and he wants to, he's revving his engine up. He wants to race. All right, light turns green, and we race, and I'm revving this thing out, and we were like neck and neck, and then all of a sudden, same thing as the Cadillac. All of a sudden, kablang, and the engine explodes on me. Of course, those Pontiac motors, they were at the time, they were not known for being very good to rev up past, what was it? They didn't want you to rev them up like past, say, 5,500. And of course, I was probably taking it to cam float, or valve float rather. And that car, I had actually put an aftermarket cam in it and a set of headers. So the car did run pretty decent. Wasn't as fast as my Formula 350 Firebird that I had, but it ran pretty good. So yeah, that one I grenaded the motor. Same thing. I stuck a connecting rod right through the oil pan, and of course I left a beautiful streak of oil down the road to the point where I was able to pull over. And it was actually, turned out it was right in front of my old high school where this happened. I think it was over a weekend though, because school wasn't in session. But yeah. Another funny story is actually my buddy Ed. He had a 73 Charger. It was only a 318 car with an automatic, and he wound up losing reverse in the car. I mean, most of the cars we ever bought back then were beaters, so appropriately we beat the snot out of him. So I think he had that Charger the same time I had that Coronet, but he wound up losing reverse on it. So we're driving down this one road in White Plains, New York, and we're going down, and of course he drove like a madman. He drives pretty fast. He drives what is it called, like autocross and stuff like that. He does that kind of race. He still does it to this day. But so we're going down the road, and every once in a while he would throw the car in reverse just for poops and grins, if you know what I mean. So he stuck in a reverse, and we're going like 55 miles an hour or something like that, because we're coming up on a traffic light. So he sticks it in reverse, and he's like revving it up, and he's like getting ready to hit the brakes. He just did it for whatever reason, and then all of a sudden the darn thing engaged reverse. It engaged reverse, and the left rear tire went up in smoke, and he just kept its foot to the floor as we're coming up on this intersection. So he's coming up on the intersection, and here's this unbelievable like trail of smoke behind us, and here's this 318 revving out to valve float, and he actually just is slowing down. He just makes it past the heavy white line where you're supposed to stop. He just makes it past that, and the car comes to a stop and then starts backing up. He backs up back to in front of the stop line, and then all this smoke just comes into the intersection, and there's people at the intersection, they're just like looking like, what in the heck was that all about? That was the only time reverse ever worked. Why? I don't know what happened. I don't know, but man, I tell you what, that was funny. So anyway, I just some of those things popped in my head last night, so I kind of wanted to share that with you. All right, guys, if you're getting something out of my videos, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. I hope you have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. Keep wrenching.